everybody, and welcome to the Grey Nomad Knits, episode 5 already, episode 5. It's been a little while since I recorded because I really wanted to finish that very big special project before I came to you all again. And we'll talk more about that later, but for now, welcome. A big thank you to everyone who's been following my humble little podcast. And to all those new people who've started watching since the last episode, a big welcome to you also. And I hope you have, that you're able to enjoy my little show and tell. You can find me on Ravelry. My name is Jill and I live in Perth, Western Australia. You can find me on Ravelry as JillyMG or on Instagram as JillyMG60. I'm doing this without my glasses today because I find that I've got the window here in front of me and it was reflecting so badly on my glasses. It was a bit distracting, but I will have to put them on to see what's next. Oh, the weather. At last it's getting cool enough here to wear some winter knits. So far it's only cool enough to wear something around your neck. We're still in the low 20s. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but we're averaging about 20, 21 at the moment. We've had a couple of really cool nights and really cool mornings, and today it's very overcast, so I hope the light is okay. But we've still been very lucky to be blessed with lots of sunshine, so we can't grumble, although I love a bit of good cold wintry weather. So hopefully some of it's not too far away. Okay, I thought I'd show you one or two things that I've knitted in the past. The first one being for my very unknitworthy husband. I think he's worn these twice in the 12 months that he's had them. But in fairness to him, it doesn't get that cold here, so he's a mad Doctor Who fan. So I made him these. It looks a little bit big around here. That's because the first time I did them, I pulled the colour work as I would normally do it. And of course they didn't go over his heel and ankle. So I had to pull it all out and redo them on a bigger needle and at a much looser gauge. So although they look a little bit funny like this, they do fit him perfectly. The cuff tightens it all up again when it's on his leg so they don't fall down or anything. He's promised me he is going to wear them more this year. And they are the, I think it's the Police Box Socks pattern. Yes, Police Box Socks by Audrey Nicklin. And I knitted these in Cascade Heritage and I'm really impressed with this yarn. It's lovely and soft. If he ever gets to wear them enough to wash them, I'll let you know how it wears. At this stage I have washed them once. So yeah, hopefully he'll get to, well, we're going over to Tasmania in July and it'll be nice and cold there. So hopefully he'll wear them quite a bit while we're over there. And I will report in the months to come how they hold up. I've got to stop saying The other thing I want to show you is my Longbourn shawl by Kay Jones from the Bakery Bears. I love this. This part is knitted out of Dingo Dye Works. I think this was the Jumbuck and this is the Ridgy Didge in her Baronia colourway. I'll just take it off and show you. I think I may have shown you this before. It's absolutely beautiful. This middle panel has got all the little flowers out of the garden. And then it's got a plain stocking stitch panel on either side. I really like this type of shawl. I don't really like the long pointy triangle ones, but I really like this. I'll just see if I can get it back on again now. It's just going to go on any old way. I'm going to make a lovely mess of this. Right, I'll try and do it properly this time. I like to pull it out a bit there. There we go. It's so soft and warm and squidgy around your neck. You just feel like you're in a constant state of being hugged. So a big thank you to Peter from Dingo Dye Works for her beautiful, beautiful yarn that she makes. And you can go onto her website at any time and order some of her gorgeous yarn. And a big thank you to Kay Jones from the Bakery Bears for her wonderful design. Okay, I think it's time for the big ta-da moment. those of you who have been watching me from the beginning have been following the progress of this, and I really need two people to hold it up properly, but I have taken a few photos which I shall try and insert here, although I don't do a very good job of inserting photos, so we'll see how it goes. The other side. It's all finished. I did a crochet border. I just did 3 rounds of treble. That's double crochet for those in the US. And I'm really happy with how it worked out. In the pattern you were supposed to do a round of blanket stitch crochet, and I absolutely have no idea how to do that. I've never done it. And Marie Wallen, this is a Marie Wallen design, she did have the instructions, but you somehow had to pick up from the 3rd row of the knitted panel, which was probably okay when you had the stocking stitch going like this. But when you get round to the side where you were picking up from the edge of your panels, that was far too hard for my bad eyesight. Sorry, I'll take my glasses off again. So I decided just to pick up the best I could and do a treble border, and I'm really happy with it. At first I ripped it out because I was picking up every stitch that I could, and it was making it far too much fabric in the border. So I pulled it back and picked up roughly 3 out of every 4 stitches, and on the edges it was like a little bit different, so I just picked up wherever it would look like it wasn't going to make a hole. And it seems to have worked really well. So that is now going to get put away and wrapped up, ready for June, for the certain birthday. I'm just going to do the best I can. Oh, it goes forever and ever and ever. I don't know how well you can see that, but I'll just show you the other side as well. This is the wrong side, and I'm really happy with my floats. Hopefully there's not many that are too loose, because she has got a little kitten. So she's going to have to do a lot of supervision. So that's my beautiful blanket. I shall put that over here and fold it up later. That took me approximately 12 months to make, but that wasn't knitting on it every day. I mean, you know, life gets in the way, you go away. It was getting too big to take away with us. And I had lots of other projects on the go as well. So, yeah, so it took me a year, but that certainly wasn't constant knitting. Although the last couple of months I have been knitting on it monogamously. You know that word. And to get it done in time for her birthday. So I'm really happy with how it turned out, and fingers crossed that she'll love it. And when she's got it, she's getting a new lounge suite. And when her new lounge should arrive around the same time as her birthday. So when she's got it all set up, I shall certainly take some photos, and after that she'll be allowed to follow me on Instagram and allowed to know that I've got a podcast so that then she can watch what happened with the progress of her blanket. Okay, so now that I have finished that, I've been able to work on some of my other things. And the first thing is another blanket, and this is my Lucy from Ep.5, who does the most beautiful crochet designs. And since Andrea from Fruity Knitting has been talking a lot about crochet on her podcast, I'm starting to fall down the rabbit hole a little bit. I have shown you this before, and it doesn't look like I've done a lot more, but I actually have. Because I hadn't touched it for a while, and I had it lying over the back of my sofa, and when my daughter came to visit one night, she thought it was finished and dragged it over to her, which of course unravelled a little bit. Because it was just the loose, I'd already cut the wool at the end, the yarn at the end, because it was ready to add the next colour in, but I hadn't fastened it or anything. So when she pulled it over her, it actually, without her knowing, and I didn't tell her, I didn't want to upset her, unravelled a little bit. But that doesn't really matter in crochet. But when I picked it up the other day to start work on it again, I couldn't get it right. Where I tried to unravel it to a certain point to make it easier to join to keep going again, but it all got tangled up. The yarn stuck and wouldn't pull through, and I had a terrible job, and I ended up having to pull out the whole row, which was I think this one down here. Actually, no, it was this one, and literally go back to this colour and start it again. So that was a bit of a traumatic experience, but look at it, it's beautiful. I'm doing the colour wash version, and that white's going to blow out a bit. It's actually a pale cream. Goes all the way down into the green. So we've got the lovely green of the leaves. So this is supposed to resemble climbing sweet peas. And then you get up into some of the lovely lilac petals and the cream centres, and then up to the lovely deep darker ones. I haven't got a huge amount left to do, but it doesn't matter. This is just for me. And when we get our spare bedroom redecorated, our youngest daughter's coming home from Queensland for Christmas this year, so we want to get her old room all freshly painted and done up. I'm going to get a really plain doona cover to go on that bed, and then this is going to lie across the end, because it will be the middle of summer when she comes here. Oh gosh, it'd be nice to have Christmas in the winter. Do people know how lucky you are to have a roaring fire, chestnuts roasting? Here, we have to sit under the air conditioning vents, blow, flap away the blowflies, can't go outside at night because the mosquitoes are too bad, and hope that it's not going to be 40 degrees in the shade. But that's life, and we have to deal with it. So that's my Sweet Pea by Lucy from Ep.5, and all her patterns on her website are free, and she has the most wonderful tutorials. I've hardly crocheted at all in my lifetime, so if I can do this, anyone can, trust me, because I'm not good at crochet. What I like is you're repeating the same stitches and same patterns over and over and over, so it gives you a really good understanding of how it works, and you actually end up being able to read what you're doing, just like you do in knitting, and you can see straight away if you're going wrong somewhere. I've got a few more kits in that wardrobe behind me of more of her blankets to make. So I have a lot of crochet to look forward to. Can I enter this in your crochet along, Andrea? I don't know. I already had 9/10 of this done when you started your crochet along, so I don't know if that would be cheating a bit, but I might enter it anyway, be a bit cheeky and see what happens. Right. The next thing, I forgot to tell you too, that blanket is actually from acrylic yarn, 100% acrylic, and it's the Stylecraft Special DK, which I bought from Wool Warehouse. Wool Warehouse have wonderful packs they put together of all Lucy's designs, and it just makes it so easy. You don't have to go through picking out all the colours. They don't make them any more expensive than picking out the colours individually. So you just go into the Wool Warehouse website, and they have a tab for the Ep.5 shop, and then they have all the packs they've made for Lucy's designs, and you just select the one you want. And living here in Australia, I think I picked the cheapest shipping, and it takes about 10 days. So you can't beat that. Wonderful. Now the next thing that's been in hibernation for a while is can you hear all the pegs? My Catherine Howard by Alice Starmore. Now I've shown you this before, and I'm onto the sleeves now. Now I've got all the threads pegged at the back so they don't get, this one peg here is holding all these strands together so that they don't get too tangled, because I've been getting in a heck of a mess. This is the sleeve. And I'm halfway through nearly halfway through the increases now. It's folded over a bit so you can't really tell. So this is going to be go around the wrist like that, and it is a bit of a loose fit around the wrist. I'm hoping the sleeves have got plenty of room in them, because I do have very large upper arms. I'm absolutely loving it. It's one of her yarns. I can't remember if it's the Hebridean 2-ply or 3-ply, but it's pure wool, and from I think she's locally sourced the wool, and there's 3 different shades of blue. You've got this very dark one. Next time I'll write all the shades down so you know, because if you just knit a whole sweater in one of these colours, it would be beautiful. This is a very dark blue here. Then these bits here are done in another blue. And then you've got the narrower bit here, which is another blue. And then every so often you have these little bobbles, which are another one. So there's 4 different shades. Apart from the dark one, the shades are all very similar, so I have to do it in good light. And that's why I have some of the yarn, because it's all intarsia, some of the yarn is wound onto bobbins, into just little handmade bobbins, and the other colour I've wound onto clothes pegs. And that way, when the light's not too good at night, I don't get mixed up with which colour is which. I'm really enjoying it. I don't think it's going to fit me at this stage, but hopefully by next winter it will. It's certainly going to be something that I can look forward to wearing when I'm a different shape or a different size. So that's the Alice Starmore, Catherine Howard from Alice Starmore's Tudor Roses collection. And she's got some wonderful designs, so you can go and have a look on her website, Virtual Yarns, and you'll fall down the rabbit hole, trust me. Absolutely beautiful. Another thing I've been working on, and I think I showed you the beginning of these last time, this started off as my nursing home knitting when we've been going up to visit John's mum. But we only stay for 10 minutes now because she doesn't know us, and quite often she just gets up and walks away and leaves us. So we don't stay very long. It's very upsetting for John, especially after having just lost his father. So now this is my knitting that I take when I don't want to concentrate so much. So I've got the first sock finished. I haven't got sock blockers, so just have to, I love these. I asked John if he would like them because I thought they were quite a nice colour for him, but then I decided no, he wouldn't wear them anyway. Oops, let's try if I can. So they're going to be for me, and I've only got a small foot. It's the one part of me that is small. So I've just knit down. It's the West Yorkshire Spinners. They've got a bird collection, and this is the owl. And I absolutely love how it's knitting up. Look at that. And the contrasting colour I used for the heels, toes and cuffs, it's a Wendy's Rome, I think, R-O-A-M, but I can't remember. I haven't got the label, so, you know, hanging a fence if I get it wrong, I guess. But anyway, so I'm doing these using Magic Loop. I find that's the easiest way of doing socks. That's why you've got a little line down there. But I don't actually block socks. But, you know, when you put them on, that line disappears. And after they've had their first wash, it'll disappear too. So it's 20 rows rib, and I think I do 62 rows of plain stocking stitch for the leg, heel flap and gusset, and then I think from there it's 52 rows till I get to my foot. And I used the umbrella toe from Kay Jones, and that fits me really well. It's also her square heel turn, which I really like as well. So that's the first sock, and I've made a good start on the second sock. I just went on a wonderful knitting retreat organised by the lovely Ella from one of the knitting groups I go to, and it was so nice to get up in the morning and just sit and knit all day. And we were down at a lovely place called Eagle Bay, and I will put some photos on at the end of this. And we went to a lovely cafe, and then some of the girls wanted to go shopping because there's some beautiful quirky shops. You know, I don't know if any of you here watching are from Western Australia, but you know the beautiful little quirky shops you get down south. But Charmaine and I aren't really shoppers. Hi Charmaine. So we sat in this gorgeous cafe while the rest went shopping, and we just sat and knitted. And I knitted on the second sock. So I'm now up to the heel flap. So I'll get started on that, and it won't be long before they're finished. So yeah, the West Yorkshire Spinners yarn feels really nice. It feels softer in the skein than what it does knitted up, but I think they'll wear really well, and I think after the first wash they'll also really soften up. I actually really like knitting socks. Okay, what's next? It's so nice to be able to get onto some of my other projects again. The next is my lovely Softly cardigan by Hannah. Now, I don't really know how to pronounce her name. I think I was saying something like Maciuska, but I think it's Majuska. But I could be wrong. So I have done a bit more of this since you last saw it. I'll just unravel it all. This is using Dingo Dye. Oh, look at the colour in that. This is using Dingo Dye Works Jumbuck yarn in the Coolgardie colourway. I don't think she's got any of this left on her website now. So this is the back. I'll just grab it by the armholes and show you all the way down to the bottom. Now the bottom is done in a smaller needle, and I kind of wish I'd done it in the same size needle now because it is pulling it in a bit. But I think when it's washed and blocked a bit, it will be fine. And I probably should have done a more stretchy bind off to it. It's an I-cord bind off, but I think I made it a little bit tight. But you know, it'll be fine. So that's the back, and this is the front. It's really hard to show. I'm going to get a dressmaker's model in here so I'll be able to show these things off better. That's the lovely banding down the side. And I've started on one of the sleeves. I'm really, really loving this yarn. It is pulling a little bit. I don't really notice it till you see it on the screen, but I just love it. And this top part of the sleeve has come out a lot paler, and now it's getting down into the lovely deeper golds again. So it's going to look really nice. I was a bit worried about the back of my neck because in the picture, this is actually where you started knitting it. And you probably can't see it very well, but there's a kind of a join here. And that's done when you first cast on in this way and you cast on with a provisional cast on. And then you take it off and you knit that way. But in the pattern, this is all sort of lovely and tight, and then it comes out like that. And I really liked that effect, but mine didn't do it. And then as I was reading through the pattern for the sleeves, I thought I'll just have a look at the, what it says to do at the end. It said you run a thread through this bit and draw it up, and that's what gathers it. Oh, learn to read your patterns, Jill. So I'm really enjoying it. Now the other thing with these loose cardigans that don't have any fastenings on the front is that I quite like that look, except if I'm going out somewhere and it's really windy and it all blows open. I really hate that. So I went to the Perth Craft and Quilt Fair the other day, and I can't show you because I didn't bring them in, but I bought myself just 2 lovely wooden buttons with a little flower design painted on them, and I'm going to, on the front band, just do 2 little loops of single chain crochet, and so that I can just, and I'll do them on the band so that you can't actually see them, and then I'll sew the buttons on the other band so that I can just fasten it if I'm out and it's windy or really cold and you just want something, you can wrap around and fasten. So that's that one, and I love it. I love the pattern. I'm certainly going to knit more of Hannah's patterns because she's got some beautiful patterns. Check her out on Ravelry, and I think it's Harder, H-A-D-A Knits. Beautiful, beautiful designs. And of course, everything's better with Dingo Dye Works. Now, the last thing I want to show you is my lace wrap. This is the Queen Sylvia shawl by Nancy Bush, and it's growing. I think I've got about, these are all one repeat. And I think I've got about another 3 to do, which doesn't look very big, I know. But when it's blocked, it's just going to almost double in size. Look at those nubs. Oh, I love it. Look, I'm going to try and stretch it out without pulling it off my needles. Because if I lose a stitch in this now, it's curtains because I haven't got any lifelines in. Look at that. I'm doing this on, I think they're 3.25 needles. Yes, and I'm using the lovely bamboo needles from one more row here in Western Australia. She gets these, they're KA needles, and she gets them in from Japan. I find the bamboo is so much more gentle on my hands than metal needle. I couldn't use metal for this anyway because the stitches would just slip off. These are perfect. So I've actually ordered another pair from Anne, and I think I mentioned in my last podcast I've got a commission to do another lace scarf. So, and I've ordered the wool for that, and it should be arriving any day. That's coming from Wool Warehouse. But this one, yeah, so Nancy Bush from her Knitted Lace of Estonia book. I just love it. I can't wait to see how it looks when it's finished and blocked out. It does have to have a border, goes all the way around it when it's finished, and I'm dreading that a bit because I think it's going to involve picking up stitches all along this garter stitch edge. It's going to also involve, taking out this provisional cast on. Now the first few rows were garter stitch, but I'm still not looking forward to it. I'll just have to really take my time, do it one afternoon, maybe outside in good light. Oh, the sun's coming out now. And maybe do it when I'm home alone so there's no interruptions. Yeah, I've discovered most things are possible if you take your time and just think about them. I'm loving this. It's giving me a real love for lace knitting again. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. This yarn is Morris & Sons Empire Lace Weight 2-ply. And it's a very pale silvery grey colour. I can't remember the name of the colourway now. But it is very fine. Morris & Sons is a shop here in Australia, but they're on the other side of the country to where I am. They have one in Sydney and one in Melbourne. But we are going to Sydney in July, so I will be paying them a visit, and I'll also be paying a visit to the beautiful shop Skane Sisters, which is also in Sydney. So that's it for all my knitting. Now that I've got my craft room set up, I am going to start getting into some sewing again. And I thought I'd like to make myself a couple of long sleeve t-shirt type tops for winter, because those with a cardigan are all we need here in Perth. And our big fabric store Spotlight had a sale on. So I picked up just this plain one, and that probably looks black. Oh, I think you can see it there. It's a navy blue. Which hopefully by next winter I'll be able to wear under my Catherine Howard cardigan. And I also got this one, which I thought would look nice under my lovely Coolgardie Gold Softly cardigan. It's a lovely khaki colour. And I've also bought the Tilly and the Buttons stretch knit book, and I'm going to take the top patterns out of one of her designs. I can't remember which one it is, but it has quite a nice high neck because I do like to hide some of this. and I'm going to make a larger size because I don't want them even larger than what I am, because I don't want them to be too tight and grippy around my tummy. That's the beauty of making your own clothes. You can make them to fit, and that's going to be great fun. I'm looking forward to that. If you could see this setup at the moment, I've got my iPad sitting on top of a plastic crate that's full of project bags, and behind that is my sewing machine. Scrunched up is a netting fabric I've bought to make some fresh produce bags. I'm having a bit of worry about how I'm going to make those yet, but once I've worked it out and I've made some, I'll show you. Now, we're also on our trip to the Eastern States in July. We're going to Queensland to visit our youngest daughter, and her very best friend over there has got a little girl who's 2 years old, and she loves Minnie Mouse. So I couldn't resist this fabric when I saw it. And this is just a cottony type fabric. Look at that, it's so cute. And I'm going to make this gorgeous dress for her. This one here. So it's nice and loose fitting, and for those of you who are perhaps in the Northern Hemisphere or elsewhere in the world, Queensland is very warm. Brisbane, it's very rarely, I think, gets below 22 or 23 degrees, and the summers are very hot and it gets very humid. So I thought a nice loose fitting dress would be lovely and cool for her to wear. It's a long time since I've sewn, so we'll see how it goes. She might not be getting it. We'll see. Okay, so that's about it for today. I have started doing some nice walks. I went for a lovely walk along our local beach, Burns Beach. There's a beautiful pathway along there, so I'm glad, because it was actually, the tide was in really high that day, so I couldn't have walked along the beach anyway because the waves were crashing in. It was actually quite, the ocean didn't look rough, but the swell was right in, so there was a high swell, so the waves were coming in and crashing up right up against the rocks. So I stuck to the path and had a lovely walk, and I did take a few photos. And then, of course, we had our lovely knitting retreat down at Eagle Bay, and I took some photos there, which I shall put on here at the end as well. We managed to get the beautiful Charmaine. Hey, how good were we lighting that fire? We got a beautiful log fire going, and we're not used to lighting log fires here because it doesn't really get that cold. But it was cold down there, and while the rest were out shopping, Charmaine and I came home back to the house after our knitting session at the cafe, and we got the fire going. I've got to say that Ella, whose family own the home, her parents are in their 90s, and they still drive down there themselves, and it's about a 3-hour drive from Perth. They drive down there themselves and they chop all the firewood, and it's all stacked up under the house. It's absolutely beautiful. You've got big logs in one pile, medium logs in another, then all the twiggy bits and the kindling bits in another, and it's all there laid out for you. And they're in their 90s. My goodness, how amazing are they? So that is something to aim for, everyone, to be able to chop wood when you're in your 90s. So I'm going to leave it on that note, and I wish you all a very good day and a very good week, and wherever you are in the world, I hope you're at peace and that you can sit down and enjoy half an hour of your favourite hot beverage and a good few rows of your latest knitting project. So goodbye everyone for now, and happy knitting.